Hey everyone, welcome to Psychic Nerds 44. Surrounded by all my friends here. It's been a really interesting week. We have Phil, Lost, uh, Curdy. I'm just going to call you Curdy. Dee Dee, Samantha Jane James, Rudy Largo, Barefoot Doc, Tech Cowgirl, Crypto Spartan, and the Ghost Santino. I'm not sure where to start this week. I have this meme behind me. So Dee Dee informed me that the woman character in The Beauty and the Beast, her name is Belle, and this is a funny meme. So it says random old wallet, and the Beast says to her, "You came back for me." And she said, "Of course I did." Me checking for airdrops in old wallets. So I thought that was pretty funny. That's basically what my week has been. There's been some amazing airdrops with Fox tokens and bankless DAO tokens. It's been pretty amazing, and I'm rediscovering all these old wallets. So just been very cool. Just generally, anybody else been doing that this week? Going into these old wallets and sucking things up like a vacuum?
Yeah. Well, I'm actually going back to some of my old wallets because I have to, it's really great for when you're claiming on your taxes, because as some people may remember, I had some reading specials with cryptocurrencies where people donated a certain number to me, and it came out to be all different numbers and stuff like that, but I just total that up. I have to claim it as income, and it's right there on the wallet, and I love it because I'm looking back in the history, and somebody sent me some Litecoin, and I'm like, I flipped it into Stellar. So it was like, this was the current value. This was the value of it back in the day, and it's worth like double or more like now today, right? Because again, I have to look at the old number, and then the new number is the capital gains. So I love the wallets because they do that. But I was like, oh, well, I'm at it. I'm going to take that link that, because Quadruple Tree sent me the link for Shapeshift that you can check. It goes right to where you can check for the Fox tokens. So I took my Ethereum address, I copied and pasted it, and I got a wah, wah, wah.
But it's great, isn't it? I mean, isn't it like just finding like found money or found cool things, right?
No, the wah 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 means I didn't get any.
You didn't get any.
Not from that wallet that I was downloading the trend, because you can actually download it into an Excel document that shows you all of those numbers. So I just throw that at the accountant, right? But I'm like, oh, this is so much easier. Why do people stress about this stuff?
So a lot of people are reporting to me, they're finding thousands or many tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of tokens. So that's great. I'm happy to hear that. It's really cool. I think this whole idea shapeshift, dissolving as a corporate entity, moving to a DAO, I think that's future. We kind of talked about that yesterday on the Crypto Review Show, but I'm really excited about that. And kind of on the other end, MakerDAO, that's been a DAO forever and kind of led the charge being a DAO. They're dissolving their DAO into basically separate DAOs of different focus groups. And if you're a member of that current DAO, you get to vote on which one of these sub DAOs will get funding in the future. And I find this whole idea of distributed autonomous organizations to just be really, really interesting to me. Anybody have any thoughts on that, about these DAOs or anything like that?
And when I was watching the video, I forget the name of the channel you recommended, where the guy explains what DAOs are, and watching actually some old videos on MakerDAO, because that's one I never fully understood. But my thought was that DAOs are interesting, they're fun. I think they're an experiment. It'll be interesting to see where they go. But my thought was there's always humans who will figure out how to game the system. And I think with any of these DAOs, the weak spot is the voting tokens, right? So once something becomes valuable enough, if somebody really wants to do something, you can use money like anything else in life and get enough of the majority and vote and change things. So, that was my thought on DAOs, is like, I wonder where they'll go, but because humans are always going to get in the way. So what do you guys think?
Well, I think that's very interesting, Rudy. And that's one of the things that I'm kind of hearing on the back channels is that, hey, yes, this is great. And yes, it's wonderful that if you hold a token, it gives you voting rights, and some sort of governance over it. So if you basically hold a token, you're part owner of this company or organization is probably a better way to put it. But I'm already hearing, just like you said, one of the big frustrations with this is, well, you're just, whales are just picking up tons of these tokens, trying to guide these organizations in a specific direction. Or there's even reports of payola, Does anybody know what that word means? Payola, kind of, getting people to vote in a certain direction and leverage their tranche of tokens and then getting paid on the back end in secret. So that's, yeah.
That word actually, payola, came from the music industry, because what the artists used to do, or the people who own the album, they used to bribe the DJs to play the music more often in the run of a few hours, and it was called payolas. So if they received sort of a bonus for playing that song more, so that maybe more people would have voted, it just gave it a better chance. So when you say payolas, there was actually a Canadian band, and their name was the Payolas.
Yeah.
And that's how awesome. I learned what that word meant. Yeah,
for sure. Now, if anybody's ever been involved in a corporate structure or sat on the board of directors, you know that some of this kind of thing happens anyway, right? So it's not like this is a new concept where people are kind of making alliances and doing all sorts of things maybe they shouldn't do, or make sure that their division of the company has funding, next year at this time, stuff like that.
But the great thing about it all is that it's all very fluid, and you see that the support moves, and changes. And we saw that happen with Ethereum. Now more people are building and developing on Ethereum. And now there's all these sort of subcultures. I call them subcultures to Ethereum now.
For sure.
That are building like crazy on these. It's almost like Ethereum is the train tracks for what they're building. And it all seems to be working out just fine, because if you get too many people taking over one particular area, it seems that people migrate over and then create something that's more democratic, I guess is the way that you would put it. It has more people interested in it, and then they just kind of throw that other thing away. And that's what I like about what is coming for the future. I had mentioned when we were in the green room beforehand that I see that they're working to collapse the current system that they have. That's why they're all printing money, right? Because they intend on collapsing it. And what they want to do is they want to replace it with another system where they have full control. And a lot of that has to do with this guaranteed minimum income, where they're going to send you everybody. Oh, I feel like Oprah, and you get a check and you get a check and you get a check, right? Mm-hmm. But what's going to happen is that they intend on doing that. But then I always find source. We talk about this is the Great Awakening. There is something spiritual going on. Good is going to win over, light over darkness, good over evil. Well, what happens is evil makes a plan, and then the light just like slips in their own plan. So you can see the system becoming destroyed. And one of the things that I've said in the blab, and I'm in the blab when I'm saying scared money, because that's not even my wording. I have never referred in my entire life in the financial industry, I have never said scared money. But the people had me say scared money will flow into cryptos when they can't get gold or silver. And that was a couple of years ago. And now we're seeing that the money printing is going like crazy. Supply chains are getting disrupted. People don't know which side is up anymore. You have no idea what is coming. It's like minus, you're like paying people to take your oil, and then a year later you're paying $70 a barrel. It just seems to be crazy. And they are trying to just destroy the financial system so that they will have full control. But blockchain is going to take control because they weren't smart enough. And that's why my channel in particular, and the words, and I had this discussion with my lead editor today, that the reason why my channel is staying small is because, and it's on purpose. I'm like totally fine with that. I'm like, no, I almost seem like I'm pressing on the brakes, because not too many people can know about this, or else it won't happen. We can't let them know. No, yeah, that's right. Keep doing it. That's right. Keep printing that money, because what'll happen is that blockchain and cryptos, when people can't get silver and gold, even the old people will be getting their younger people to figure out how to get this Bitcoin, this Ethereum, this Polkadot, this, you know, I mean, people will even be buying Litecoin. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
like I said, everything they will try to get. It's just that, you know, Dogecoin, a lot of, you know, they'll be trying to buy stuff with it. And we're going to see that flip on its head pretty quick. But like I said, we'll just keep flying below the radar. We know what's going on. Try not to panic. Yes, they're collapsing the system. Yes, they're going to try to implement this basic income thing. But then all of the movers and shakers are going to be like, yeah, no, we don't want to pay for that. Right? We're going to go over here, right? And then other countries are going to start going, come over here, crypto people, come over here. And you're going to see it's going to be a shit show the next 4 years. What can I say?
You know, these ideas, I love these ideas of DAOs about people, whether it's Dogecoin or anything else, or deciding to take part in a DAO, you name it, run an exchange, provide liquidity, create tokens of their own, create coupons of their own, do yield farming, you name it, I could go on and on. I love these ideas of people taking a hold of this technology, right? I mean, we can talk about corporations and their motives of profit, right? And now you could make the argument that a lot of these people, their motive is profit as well. But we're seeing corporations dissolve into almost a DAO system where holders of the tokens can determine the direction. And I think that's really cool. And I just want to reference real quick. Rudy, you mentioned this gentleman, and I just kind of want to give him another plug. You know, his videos get like just a couple hundred views, and it's really sad. This is a licensed financial guy, been into crypto a long time, and he's got 2 wonderful videos here on DAOs. So if you know anybody new that doesn't understand what a DAO is, maybe you could point him there. It's great. And he's got an interaccess channel. I think he's a really good guy. You know, there's not a whole lot of fanfare in his presentations. A lot of it's pretty dry, as you would probably expect, but I think it's really great. So let's use this time as a teaser for what's coming up. We're going to talk about $100,000 Bitcoin. We're going to talk about collapse of the system. We want to talk about some of the CPI issues, and Dee Dee wants to talk about real estate. I know Sam's got some thoughts there on real estate, consumer protection, financial bureau information from Dee Dee. Obviously, the charts from Spartan. And then I think we'll talk about some of the unrest and riots around the planet. We'll talk about that. So we'll save the more spicier topics for as we move on into the program. Santino, what are your thoughts about these DAOs? About you threw me a message here in chat talking about voting structures are transparent in the chain. That's really important, isn't it?
Yeah, because we've never had it before. Mostly money has moved around in secrecy. And ultimately at its base level, what we're talking about here is opening up the money system to transparency. And that by its very nature democratizes things, right? And by its very nature, it tends to, the moment you can observe something, you change it. Just the act of observing it changes it, even if you do nothing else. So that makes this a very different animal. It's not perfect. Of course, people are still going to have hidden agendas. People are still, you know, large money interests are still going to be able to move markets. Have we not seen that in crypto in 10 years? I mean, look at the stuff we're seeing even now. This is people with a lot of money being able to push around an illiquid small market, which is why I always say, look, all these things we're talking about are true. They're going to have its day, but right now, understand you're in a very speculative market, and price isn't always associated to the things that we're talking about. So if people want to have a discussion about price, that's a very different discussion. But the stuff we're talking about now ultimately will, in the future, push up price. It has to, whether we're talking about halvenings, whether we're talking about circulation supply, burning. Look at what's happening with the London fork with Ethereum. I mean, Ethereum is going to become very scarce in the next 18 months, very scarce. So, you know, scarcity leads to price going up. Is it doing it now? No, because sentiment is messed up, but it will eventually. The things you're talking about, the innovative things, the things on the ground floor, which, by the way, Moo, I give you full credit for, is you're always very early in these trends. on the ground floor. And you're always right about where we're going with these things. And I think, yes, you are correct. We're seeing now a lot of these areas that you guys have been talking about begin now to overlap in a way that we didn't see before. They were compartmentalized before. In other words, they were blocked off from each other. So you had DeFi, you had this, you had that, you had NFTs. We're starting to see interesting overlap now that I have not seen before. That is very, very important.
Thanks, man. And it's interesting to hear you talk about some things that have never been seen before and are interesting to you because, since March, people have been upset with this market, right? Heard a lot of people be upset, not realizing there's sectors of this market that are just eating everything, just like DeFi ate everything, right? I heard people talking really bad about NFTs during kind of that initial drop in March. And you can always tell that these different sectors, if they have legs, because you and I saw these 4 iterations, these 4 cycles of DeFi. You can always tell if it's a really strong sector when after one of these punches in the mouth by Bitcoin or anything else, if it just gets up off the canvas and it just starts going again. Yes, it gets hit. Yes, it suffers for a moment. And then, the metaverse just picked itself up and just got going, kind of like last year when we saw Bitcoin get punched in the mouth a few times from the plus token scam and some other things. And DeFi was just got up and brushed itself off and just continued to run. So that's how I try and identify these sectors. Okay, well, which ones after they get punched in the mouth, do they just jump right back up and they get back to work? And they return very, very quickly, which is always interesting. I don't know how anybody else does that, but that's usually one of the identifiers to me if one of these sectors has legs. What else? Why don't we go ahead into the charts, Spartan? Where I'm sure people are interested about where we're going, market caps, kind of your feeling about where we're at.
Okay, let me just clean one thing up here.
Sure.
There's just a little too much stuff on here. I don't want to confuse everybody.
If anybody kind of wants to understand what I'm talking about this Metaverse, right? We talked about this Thursday and we have been for a good month now. It's that whole space that is it incorporates some NFTs, some music, art, gaming, especially. Largely gaming, and then some of these yielding opportunities or yield farming around some of those different things. It's very, very interesting to me. And if anybody wants to know, I think we're now in the second leg of this metaverse run, which, some people, I think they didn't even know we were in the first one. So we're now in the second one. And that's pretty cool to me. But yeah, I'd like to look at some of these tokens and projects too when we get there, Spartan. I probably got some new monikers for you that we can start looking at.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks, man.
Found a new way to toggle out on and off, watching too many YouTube channels about toggling on and off like fib retracements, and you can put stuff on and off and trend lines. It's kind of nice. I can just hide stuff and then use it later. I don't have to draw it every time. So this is our downtrend in Bitcoin. And this is, a 4-hour chart back to May 10th. We've gone over this and this decline and then the fake rally breakout.
Can't see it, buddy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
So here's our Bitcoin chart, 4-hour chart, goes back to the beginning of May. These were the highs, the consolidation at the highs. So we draw a trend line from here through the most recent swing high, and we have a breakout. First time it's happened a couple times. Like if you bring this line back to here, it would have come through here and we had a bit of a breakout, but it kept sliding down. So we need some more positive momentum here. We need this to keep going up. But if you look at the yellow channel right here, we're still in an intermediate downtrend in the overall space of the huge downtrend. And this line has been acting as resistance all day. And I posted on the Discord earlier today, I'm just blowing up the same chart, that I would expect Oh, this is in the wrong spot right now. Wrong one, that's why. The tools are only as good as the users. There we go. So someone asked me to clarify. So when I was looking at, this is the major long-term trend line. Here's the yellow lines with our channel coming down. This has been resistance coming up to the top of the channel. I don't see it coming all the way back down to the lows. I think we may have started a trend up, but I would expect possibly to see something down around here, which is the 1, 2, which is the 1, 2, 3 bottom, which I talk about, which is like this, like this, like this. And that's just a healthy correction in the overall direction of the trend. Markets never go straight up. You can see it right here. It goes do, 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 do. See that? So that's what, so it's not gonna just go straight up. I expect a little more consolidation. A pullback only to like 31.5 would be great, because the shallower the replacement, I'm sorry, the shallower the retracement, the more likely we are to hit the 618 extension on a move up. So the shallower the retracement, the more likely we are to go up. Now, if this comes back down into here, then I would expect this to be lower and have to take another move down before it continues higher. So watch this retracement level, the 31,600 to the 3,800 range. And the shallower the retracement, the more likely we are to make new highs. So that's the good news right now. So let's look at the bad news case.
So in your opinion, so speaking hopefully, you feel like we need to get above this 35K here to have some legs and continue, or this 35, what was it, 8 or 6?
Yeah,
34,
2 to 35.8.
Okay.
You know, that's where these where this resistance is, right in here.
Gotcha.
And you know, Santino and I have also always said 4,200 or 42,000 is a very important number, and that's also right up here at the here, this 318 up, the 318 extension off this small move.
Sure.
You know, so if we get, you know, so that's a very important run. If we run all the way up to there, I would expect, you know, you can always expect a retrace. Oh. You can always expect a retracement. So if it came all the way up to here, to that 42,000 number, you can expect a shallow retracement back to 37,000 and then go higher. So
no champagne, no champagne popping until we get past 42 for real or good. Yeah, I totally agree on that. And we don't want to fail there big. We also don't want to fail there big, because if we do, then we're into a longer recovery period.
Yeah, because right, exactly. Because if you look at this stuff right now, that was hanging on by a thread down here at 29,000. I mean, there's not a whole lot of price action below here.
I have no fingernails left.
I agree.
Santino's out of money. Can't buy the dip anymore. Just kidding.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever be out of money.
Is there a way we can pace, but if you go out to let's go out to the daily chart and look to see where we're at, real quick. You know, so we were right down here at this previous level. Now, ain't that amazing? When in doubt, scroll out. So that's, you know, this could be a big, you know, big head and shoulders pattern right here, and then launch off of it. And look,
Sam,
Sam,
is that a big head and shoulders pattern right there? We launch from here, or we still got a ways to go? Just like, damn it, where's the mute button?
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I was turning my head like the microphone's in the way. I can't see the mute button. We're going up. It wasn't going to be long. We don't have much left in July. That was like the pissed off answer I gave to somebody when I was doing a reading with him back in 2019. And remember my prediction about April 1st back in 2019 that was going to be a big turnaround day.
Yeah.
And this guy hadn't put his money in yet. It was like the end of March. And he was like, should I do it? And I was like, it's almost April 1st. Like, I was like pissed off, like, don't you know? And I just got the same feeling about that. I'm like, you know what? I'm as much as I try to prepare people and say, listen, if it doesn't happen, don't worry. I'm just off by a little bit. You know, September, things will go crazy. Nobody was getting out of the market anyways. You know, and I told people early on, I was like, it's like, you know, you're here and you're getting out here, right? So who cares? Like what happens like here? Who cares what you're here and you get out here?
Yeah.
Who cares?
And if people are curious about the statement she just made, that was in 19, wasn't it?
2019. Yeah.
So she's not talking about, you know, this year or last year. So
no,
because I
no, like the Doge cruise was from back in the very day one. And I mean, I was way up on Doge at that point, but I was like, no, man, this is everywhere. I don't even know how to tell you. Just buy it.
Yeah, I remember those responses. They were pretty funny. It's almost April 1st, you know. What are you doing?
Yeah. Step forward.
What I've been talking about for the last 8 months.
Just lean your head right in here. That's right there. That's what my friend would do when she would say something dumb, and then she'd put her head forward, and I'd already have my hand out ready to go like that. You know, when you hang out with somebody that many years, you kind of know them. They know you. They know you can tell the future. You've told them something. They don't listen to you. It's so human. I'm like, oh, you didn't listen to me. And then they lean their head forward like, yeah, I know you told me, but it's head and shoulders. I feel like it's headed up. And Cardano, wow, I've been talking a lot about Cardano this week.
Yeah. So I picked up the Cardano chart right here. So this is the daily chart. You know, we're down here at support. It's a great place to buy. You know, I don't see it going below $1. You look at something shorter term, had a big, strong bounce off the bottom when everything else did. Might come down to $1.10-ish and then continue higher. But what had the biggest bounce the other day was Matic. On a percentage basis from the low, you know, 62 cents to 90 cents. That's almost a 50% move. You know, so
that's like super farm. It's
what?
like that's a super farm move.
It's a super farm off the low move. Yep.
Yeah. Sure. So this is just like, it just rocketed off the bottom and it was just slipping. So I couldn't believe it was getting down so low. So I had a friend that was going to put some money in today. And I said, get more Matic, because the ones that bounce the hardest off the bottom will recover fast. Yeah. You know, but without Bitcoin getting better and healthier, nothing's going to get better.
I don't know.
Ethereum is.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
I'm having a great summer. I don't give a crap what Bitcoin's doing.
Yeah. Yeah. All of us, none of us own Bitcoin, but like most of the people here.
Oh, I don't own any.
We don't own Bitcoin. So
I just think if Bitcoin starts to look healthier, everything else will fly, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, we will get more. Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. There will be more if Bitcoin turns around. But it is getting to the point now that what I had seen many years ago, and the reason why I don't hold any Bitcoin and haven't from day one, I just went into Ethereum, I went into like the other stuff, all the other stuff. And over again, I kept seeing that long term, it was going to be this other stuff that was going to make it big time. And that if you were buying Bitcoin at like 20, 30, 40,000, you were going to be sorely disappointed. You might, you know what, you might double your money, but those of us who held, you know, Cardano from 4 cents and, you know, and Stellar Lumens is still really cheap right now. And that one's going to go huge too. So when you look at the multiples, that's why there's going to be a significant group of millionaires for sure, but it's not going to be the Bitcoin people that are going to be making bank on this.
Right. So Matic, you know, just for comparison purposes, Matic is up 50% from the bottom. ADA, doesn't save them. ADA is up 20%. Bitcoin is up 11, and Ethereum was up 20 as well. I did it while you were talking. So things are, you know, they've also all breaking trend lines. If you look for a trend line right here, you know, this is exciting to me. Here, if you look, so if you go a little bit longer term, we're right at that one. So a little more move up. You know, I've drawn, you know, trend lines like this where we go intermediate and then longer term. It just keeps making its way and breaking this. If it fails here and comes back down, I expect a 50% retracement and then it start going up again. But I think that's, you know, I've been watching Solana a lot lately. That's gotten pretty beat up from the highs.
Well, it ran pretty hard. So
Yeah,
I always
ran
expect
really hard.
that when it runs really hard.
You know,
but,
so if you go back to May, you know, it had a 64% drop, but a lot of the alts did.
yeah,
So,
but they'll all go back over it though. That's the key, right? If they're
Of
in the
course.
top, if they're still in the top 50 to 100, when the herd arrives, they will revisit those highs again. So if Solana got beat up, I would say that's definitely a good one to be watching because there's some opportunity there.
back a few days ago, a few weeks ago, this was my best case scenario for Doge. It's like, well, it didn't do that. You know, no one's perfect, but just wasn't ready to go up yet.
Well, I was thinking about Doge, and I remember when, and it sticks in my mind because, of course, the only time I ever relinquished any of my Doge was when I had a family member who decided that they wanted some. So I relinquished a small amount of Doge to them. So, of course, I became more interested with where it moved from that point. And I would have to say that it consolidated for probably about 2 or 3 months, you know, and then it went on its like next big run. And I expected, and so the fact that it's, you know, pulled back and it's consolidating, this is all very normal for Doge.
Yeah. So it's good. You know, it was a lot higher, but it came right down to these lows where it was before. This should be a little bit higher, you know.